Hello, my name is Chloe Noack, and this is my Piecewise function story. This is my story. It is about hanging out with my mom. The key parts are that we drove 10 miles in 15 minutes, we stopped for 30 minutes, then we covered 18 miles in 20 minutes. After, we did 3 miles in 45 minutes, then finally 1 mile in 12 minutes. This is the graph that represents my piecewise function and the story. Then next, I have the equations that go along with the graph. Each equation represents each line in the graph. Then I created a table to represent each of the points. So we have 0 and 0, 15, 0, and so on and so forth. Then we have the domains. The domain is the x values, so the domain would be 0 to 122 because those are the minutes that were traveled altogether. Then the range is the y values, and it would be 0 to 32 because those were the miles traveled. Next, we have the intervals of increase. This is where each point is increasing. So for example, we have 0, 15, and then 65, 28. And each of these points are represented with vertical black lines. Then we have intervals where constant. So the points would be 15 and 10 and then 45 and 10 because the y value is never changing, but the x value does. And this is represented with a red vertical line. Next, we have the y-intercepts and the y and the x-intercepts. They will both be 0, 0 because that is where we are starting. We have not moved. Next, we have the relative maximum, which would be 122 and 32, and this would be the highest point that we would go, so the most minutes and the most miles, and then the relative minimum, which is 0, 0, because that is the lowest point, and then again, the absolute maximum would be the same as the relative, which would be 122 and 32, because that's the most miles and minutes traveled. Then the absolute minimum would be 0 and 0. Next, we have the end behaviors. They would both be infinity because as x increases, y also increases. And then the graph would be considered to be continuous because the graph keeps on going. There are no stops in between the different points. And in the story, this means that we are never taking a big break. We just keep on going. Next, when f is 2, which means 2 minutes, then the miles that it will equal to is 1.3. So in 2 minutes, we have traveled 1.3 miles. Then for the next one, we traveled 3.3 miles in 5 minutes. Then for our next one, f of x equals 10, which is the miles, and so x would equal the minutes, meaning in 15 minutes we have traveled 10 miles. Then for the last one, f of x equals 25, which is the miles, and then 61 would be minutes, so in 25 miles we have traveled 61 minutes. Thank you.